Loving Sai Ram, Brother Anderson Shiva Ramdass. The Sri Satya Sai Global Council Trinidad and Tobago lovingly welcomes you to the series Awake, Unite and Inspire. We are extremely happy, grateful and blessed to have you as our guest on this evening's program. So, Brother Shiva, as you are fondly called, how did you first come into contact with our beloved Mother Sai?
Om Sri Sai Ram. Once again, before I answer the question, I want to thank you for having me on your program here today so we can discuss the advent of Swami in our lives. So your question you asked me is, how did I come in contact with Swami or Sri Satya Sai Baba? So first of all, I want to focus on the word contact. And I will explain what I mean by contact. Because my contact with Sai Baba is continuous even till today, presently. So my first contact or my first acknowledgement of my beloved Lord Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba was in the 70s. This is when the name of Sai Baba was a new word in most of Trinidadians' vocabulary. You see, my dad would have taken us, the family, to these open air sessions or prayer sessions where they would show these films on, these long ago had these big reels, these projector reels, using a projector and a screen. And it was about this guru who said that he is God, and all about the thousands and thousands of people who flock to see, hear, and experience this God personality. These videos, I learned later on, were made possible by the late Mr. Chilo of Marbella Center, a pioneer in the Sai family of Trinidad and Tobago, who is also Vidya's, my sister, her in-laws. So my contact with Sai is through his devotees. My second continuous contact with Sai Baba. By then, the Sai presence in Trinidad became more and more. And my family had already been full-time, I would say, Sai followers, where my parents, especially my mom, made it a business to have us participate in all the activity. Whichever Sai activity was available for us to take part in, that is what we had to do, especially attending satsang and balvikas once a week for sure. So my second contact with Sai Baba is through my parents. My third continuous contact with Sai Baba is when I met this wonderful girl in a Sai center, and we got married and is blessed with 3 awesome children. My wife, Anne-Marie. I must say, and everyone who knows her, she was an extremely devoted Sai individual, especially when it comes to her Sai, until her last day she spent on this earth. You see, she would on a daily basis, and I mean all the time, daily, every day, be teaching us about Sai Baba's message and how to apply it in our daily lives. Whatever the challenge, Anne-Marie would use the line. This was her famous line. What would Baba do? Until her last breath, she was chanting, Om Baba, Om Baba. So my contact with Sai is also through my wife, Anne-Marie. My fourth continuous contact with Swami, now that I am with my children who are living the life of that Sai Baba cultivated in them through Balvikas, that important word, Balvikas. My eldest son, Srishti, who we so lovingly call we call him the Seva man, will at all times be telling and reminding me of the importance of Seva and why it must be done on a minute-by-minute basis and not a daily basis. So I would say as a father, Srishti, when are you going to get time for other things, boy? And his response to me was, Dad, well, if we don't do it, who will? And if I, as a dad, if I need reassurance, then ask the man in that photo hanging behind me here. Ask him that question, not me. So my contact with Sai is through my children. My fifth continuous contact with our beloved Lord Bhagwan, Sri Satya Sai Baba, was at a World Youth Conference that was held at Prashanti Nilayam in 1999. And I have various experiences that I had over there at Prashanti. However, I had 5 physical experiences with Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. And I would like to just share with you 2 of those experiences. I would like to call one of them sand on the floor, and I would like to call the other experience the ring. So let me start with what we call sand in the floor. In 1999, a World Youth Conference was being done at Prashanti Nilayam. And I was so fortunate to attend because I got a phone call from one of Swami's favorite devotees, Brother Faiz Muhammad. And he said, he spoke to my dad and said, there is a conference that is being held at Prashanti. And if, the young adults in his home could take part in or participate. And those 2 young adults was myself and my sister Vidya. And he had everything planned out, and all we need to do is just say yes, and everything, well, it fell in place. And Brother Faiz, as you could remember, he organized everything. All we need to do was show up at the airport. And one thing led to another. So my wife told me, she said, well, when you go to Prashanti, I want you to bring back some sand from Prashanti. But at that time, when we did all our reading and research, we thought at that time, when Swami walked with all the experience and people come and bring and give us their experiences, that there's an open area where Swami walk around and give the darshan. So what had happened is she said, okay, well, what I would like you to do is when Swami walks in the sand, that part where his foot made the impression, if you can collect some of that sand and bring it for her. So I said, fine, that shouldn't be difficult, because if Swami walking on sand from one end to the end, there's a lot of footprints there. So I can manage that task, So I said, fine, that'll be great. I can do that. So that was her request. So we came to Prashanti Nilayam, and we had our normal morning, what we call routine that we would have done. And I always remember in that time, Brother Faiz would have told us, that everything that we do, we must keep chanting the Gayatri Mantra. So he would have gotten us up early, wake up us, and we would have done some chanting before we went down to get the lines, the number for the lines to sit, where we would have been able to see Swamis coming and giving us darshan. So we'd get up in the morning and we will chant this divine Gayatri Mantra, and then we will go down to get our number to sit in whichever row that Swami wanted us at that time to sit. So that being said, so we went down and we got, Brother Faiz went and he acquired that number for the group of us who was sitting, was together with him. And we got a line 2. Now, even though we got line 2, it was like in the front line, because the way the length of the line was, line 2 started join with line 1. And we were like almost at the front where Swami will walk and pass and give us his darshan. So we were all sitting there, and I could remember this, while we were sitting there, we got the line, the number, the group of us, Brother Five reminded us, okay, while we're sitting there, let us continue chanting this Gayatri Mantra, that will attract Swami. Now, we have taken Five's word for that because he has been by Swami so many times. So we know he knows what he's talking about. So I personally started to chant like normal, like a parrot, just keep Om Budva Swata Savitur, continuously, just keep chanting it, to bring that energy around. So we were all sitting there, and in that row there, all of a sudden, a Sevadal came, and he told me, I am sitting in the wrong place, that I need to sit across on that side there. So I looked at Brother Faiz, and Brother Faiz told the Sevadal, all of us is in a group, we are here together, we're from Trinidad, he said, yes, but he is sitting in the wrong place, just move him from there. So I started to feel, they started to move just me alone, something I probably did wrong, or I wasn't chanting properly or something like that. So they singled me out. So he said, I need to sit across it. So when he took me and he placed me there, he placed me behind these huge pillar. This one big, huge pillar. So I couldn't see anything in front of me. So I was just sitting there, and I was looking at the Trinidad and Tobago group, and I was feeling like, dejected, sad. And Brother Faiz told me, said, well, we have to listen to what they say, but we have to follow the rules that they said. So I went and I sat there, and I was started to feel sad about this thing, that maybe I did something that is terrible, that I was removed from the group, and I was placed behind this big post where I can't see anything in front, and definitely Swami not going to see me. So I started, thinking, what should I do? So again, I remembered the instruction that Brother Faiz gave us in the room. Always accept what is given to us, and continue chanting the Gayatri Mantra. So I started chanting this Gayatri Mantra again, like as I said, like a parrot, keep chanting over and over and over, Om Budva Swata Savitur Varenyam, hoping that Swami will actually hear me or come towards me. So then I started to roll my eyes. Okay, Swami is going to walk on this. Where am I going to get sand now? The dust from, because I started to remember the request that my wife made. So I'm looking around, but there's no sand in sight. The whole place was paved with a marble or some, like a terrazzo or something. So there was no way for me to get sand. So I started to think, what can I do? Because I had already made this promise to bring some sand that Swami walked on. So as I was looking, I said, okay, this is the path that Swami will walk. So I started to think, okay, he will walk on this side, he'll walk on that side. So I started to use my vision to, okay, capture some of the tile section. Okay, I'm started to focus on, okay, if he walks here, this is the tile that I'm going to focus on, and I'll keep my mind on that. So as soon as he walk, if I get a chance, I will just go and take my kerchief that I carried, and I will wipe the ground. And that is the way I will get the dust of Swami feet. So I had sitting there, I started to make all these different plans, to pounce on Swami's footprint. So while I was doing that also, I was chanting the Gayatri Mantra again, like a parrot with no devotion, just chanting Gayatri Mantra. So just chanting, thinking what I have to do. And all of a sudden we started to hear, the darshan music. And as Swami started to walk towards the line now that I said, well, he will walk on that line, that track or that space where the walkway is, all of a sudden, Swami took a right turn. Now he's no longer coming on that path. So I'm telling myself, no, Swami is not coming this side, he's going on that side. So as he's walking and he took the other side, everyone was turning according to Swami's direction. So now that front line became the back line. So I was now in the last line, again, behind a big, huge pillar. So I know definitely now Swami is never going to see me in the back here. I am like what they call a pin in a haystack now. I was lost. So nobody would be able to see me. So he started walking, and as he was walking to the other line, the back of the where the group, where the devotees were sitting, as he was walking, as I said, the devotees started shifting and turning according to the movement of Swami. So Swami made the whole turn. So now everybody just turned the complete 360 and back facing, again facing the front where he started. So again, I could not have seen Swami. I only seen this big pillar in front of me now. So as I was sitting there, I started to think, maybe I did something, what I did not do. And all these things started to play in my head, why it is I was singled out and things like that. Again, even though these thoughts came to my mind, again, I remembered what Brother Feist taught, gave us that instruction. Whatever happens, continue chanting the Gayatri Mantra. So, I went in a little state there and I come back again chanting the Gayatri Mantra, go in the state again, come back. I said, okay. I started to visualize the where Swami started to come in. So I started to stretch my neck to say, okay, he started to walk on that side. So I started to think, okay, when darshan is finished, I will walk up to that area. I will take my kerchief and make a big wipe. So somewhere along the line, I will get a footprint or I'll get some dust from Swami. So I was thinking all those things. So I took the little kerchief that I had and I spread it in front of me because I was in front of the pillar. So there was nobody in front of me. So I had that space there. So I spread it just to the edge of the pillar. I was just waiting. So I said, if Swami is walking on that line, as soon as he moves and he goes back inside, I will pounce on that footprint. So I started to gaze on that tile or those tiles to see which one he will walk on. And as I was sitting there chanting, all of a sudden, around the pillar, I saw these 2 feet just standing in front of me. And immediately, without anything, I had a letter that my son Shrishti had wrote for Swami. Immediately, I just did not think anything. I just stretched my hand and he took the letter from me. Now, even though he took that letter, he was not even looking at me. He just took the letter from me and he was gazing on the section where Brother Faiz and the group was sitting in. And he was like making contact with Brother Faiz. I could see both of them looking at each other. And he was smiling, but he was not looking at me at all for no reason. He just took the letter and he held it in his hand and he was looking on that direction. He still did not look at me. So he was like 2 feet away from me. So I took that opportunity to touch his feet with my hands. And I did because others were doing the same and he allowed them. And I said, okay, maybe that's, I got my blessing and direction there from Swami. And I was content with that, So now after that happened, the thoughts started to fly to my head now. Okay, opportunity to get Swami dust, Swami sweet. He started right in front. As soon as he's moving from there, I'm going to take this kerchief and just wipe it instantly so I'll get fresh darshan foot. So I'm just waiting there now to get Swami to move so that I can wipe that ground. So just, I was sitting there and I was just waiting, just imagine I'm waiting for Swami. I got his blessing, his darshan, I'm waiting. And what happened there let me know that Swami, he knows every single thing that we want. He knew the request that my wife made in Trinidad. She never told anyone. She told me that. She didn't tell anyone else. No one knew that. Swami took 1, 2 footsteps and stood directly on top my kerchief. I started to cry at that point in time because I knew no one knew that. No, absolutely no one except the divine. He stood on, he took 2 footsteps, walk like this, and he stood directly onto that kerchief. I still have that kerchief up till this day. And I do worship on that kerchief because it has that direct energy from that divine Lord. And that alone, as I just said, that lets us know that Swami knows everything. He knows absolutely everything. And for him to do that, and even though he did that now, he then take 2 steps back, and he still did not look at me. He still did not look at me. He again gazed to the direction where Brother Faiz and the group was sitting, and then he turned and he walked, and he left me there. So that told me, and I got this, I got that, what we'll call that message or that teaching, that once we have that connection with Swami, or once we make that call to Swami, and that call is what? That divine Gayatri Mantra. That is the connection that creates that telephone call or that spiritual divine call, attracting the Lord towards you. Knowingly or unknowingly, the power of prayer. And Swami left there and he went his merry way, but I was left there with that divine feeling. So that is my first physical experience with our beloved Lord, Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. The second experience that I would like to call the ring. As a Sai young adult, we were given the opportunity to participate in singing for Swami and also participate in a skit that we had to do at the World Youth Conference. And we had to go for practice in the hall itself. And there's a room where Swami would have, we call that Swami's room. He comes out from that room and goes back into that room. So we would have gone during the day, do our practice, get ready, organize, and come back again to do the skit and the song for Swami at the program, in the night program. And after leaving the hall, I was hearing these guys saying, the side devotees, they are telling us, you know, Swami usually will come out from this room and he will visit those who are in the backstage. So I started to develop a side scheme now, you know. I said, okay, I can't expect Swami, I don't want to ask Swami to materialize a ring for me because I might be pushing my luck here now, you see. So what I did, I went in the size store just after the first rehearsal, and I looked for a ring that would fit me, and I purchased that ring. And I said, you know what I'll do when I go to the backstage and Swami comes out, I wouldn't give him any pressure. What I'll do, I'll offer him this ring and tell Swami, bless this ring. Swami blessing this ring is the same as, to me, materializing a ring for me. So I said, once he bless it, I will feel okay, that is Swami's ring now. So I will feel good about it, that Swami give me a ring. So I purchased this ring and I went in my room and we got ready for the program. And then we were allowed to go and sit backstage while the first part of the program was being done. And Swami start again, just like the student said, he did start to come out from the room and he started walking among the young adults who were sitting in the ground, in the floor, in the backstage. And he started to walk around. So again, I started to remember, okay, I need to attract Swami. So I started the Gayatri Mantra again. Again, I remember Brother Fai saying, remember, chant this Gayatri Mantra. That is the connection there. So I started chant, and Swami started to walk towards me. And as he walked towards me, just in front of me, I stretched my hand out with the ring, and he passed me straight. He didn't look at me. And he started to walk towards the other devotees. And he went around. There was like the stage props, and he went around the stage props. And as he was doing that, then he started to walk again towards me again, or towards the direction where I was sitting. And again, as he passed in front of me, he was like 2 yards away from me. I still outstretched my hand, and he passed me straight again. So I had the ring in my hand. I stretched it out. Swami still passed me straight. He didn't even look at my direction. And he did that. He kept walking around maybe 3 or 4 times, and he kept walking around. And I said, I started to tell myself, I need to get Swami closer to me. Again, I started chanting this divine Gayatri Mantra again without any devotion, but just the words as a parrot chanting over and over and over. I started chanting. And again, Swami, he made another walk, and this time he came and he stopped directly in front of me, and immediately I outstretched my hands like this with the ring on it, and he looked at me. Then he watched the ring in my hands, and then he looked at me again, and he took his hands, he placed it on my hands, and he passed it, and the ring made a 360 turn in his hand, and he looked at me and he said, yours? And I shook my head. In my mind, yes, this is my ring, Swami. I bought the ring and I want you to bless it. He said, yours? I said, yes. And he did like this. Get rid of the Y. And he turned and he left. That's all he said, get rid of the Y. I started, I was so, elated that, Swami touched my hand, he touched the ring and everything like that. And it's only after there was a young guy, he was from the US center, and he said, what did Swami mean by that? So I did not really take on too much what Swami means by that. Swami talked to me, I was feeling good about that. And, that was like gold falling on me, it was like that. And then I started thinking, both of us, what he means by that. And then he said, yours, get rid of the Y. So we started thinking, and then it dawned on me, yours. That was my ego there now, my ego was talking, that's yours, yes, you buy that. Yes, I feeling that I bought this. So I started thinking, why Swami is, I can't express what Swami is. He knows everything. YOURS is yours. If I get rid of the Y, OURS, it means ours. And when both of us figure out that puzzle, myself and the young guy from the US, when we figure out the puzzle, we started to say how Swami is, there's no words to explain how Swami, he knows everything. He will put a jigsaw in your mind and make you solve the puzzle, and he makes you think, and that experience he gave me there, that experience was me getting rid of my attachment to anything, your ego, and all these other baggage that you have, and to inform me that nothing is mine. But once we have divine Lord, everything is his. Now it becomes ours. So he has given that ring, he blessed that ring, and it's no longer my ring, but our ring, that divine blessing. So to complete that question that you asked, Brother Faiz, my contact with Sai is through Sai. Om Sri Sai Ram.
Thank you very, very much, Brother Shiva. And as you were narrating those wonderful two incidents in Puttaparthi, you had me going down memory lane, reliving the joy, the excitement, and the bliss of that 1999 World Youth Conference. What a blessing, especially when Swami stood on that handkerchief
Yes,
and only you and your wife knew of that request. Showing that he knows the innermost secretive thoughts of each and every one of us and he responds accordingly. So, Brother
absolutely.
Shiva, thank you so much for sharing those wonderful experiences and how you made contact with our beloved Mother Sai. Now, I want to expand a little bit on that 1999 World Youth Conference. As a young adult participating in the conference, and Swami would have delivered messages, we would have had workshops. What were some of the principles and lessons learned by yourself in that 1999 World Youth Conference?
Om Sri Sai Ram. So, my dear brother Faiz, there were numerous things that we got ourselves as a group and as individuals involved in allowing the youths. Swami allowed the youths to participate and work with each other and give us directives on how we should work together, especially the young adults, male and female. There were a lot of times there were doubts whether or not this can be done. And Swami said, yes, everything can be done. The young adults, female, they can form their group, do their program, do their exercise and their workshop, and the same thing with the young adult male, and they can share the stage. They can do everything together. They just must not have that, to create any challenges, because these things do happen being human. So he had given us directive on how to act, how to move, how to do any and everything as young adults. And he also showed us, especially from our group, that being a young adult, you can accomplish any and everything that you set your mind to once you have Swami. And we saw that in, even at that time, Brother Faiz, you were the youth coordinator, the national youth coordinator. You were in charge of the young adults. And you were given an opportunity to speak to the congregation in Prashanti. And that was like, that is some motivation as a young adult. We can also do this. What Brother Faiz is coming from a small island in Trinidad and Tobago, and he's allowed to, speak to the masses there. And we can also do that. So that is another inspiration that Swami gave us there. Another thing that he told us, and that this came out from the Second World Youth Conference, is that he has given every youth the mandate to go and spread his name, his teachings, the way he taught it, not to go and put our views in it. If he said it this way, this is what should be said. We should not expand and say, well, and give anyone our version, because when Swami speaks, he speaks for everyone to understand in their temperament, their capacity. They will understand their awareness. They will understand what Swami says. He said, carry my word directly. And then he said also that only the youths can transform the youths. But what the youths must do, we must live the Sai life, Swami's life, his message. And then we can transform other youths, because the young adults will become a force to reckon with. The young adults is the lion among men, because the young adults is the way that the future will unfold for the Sai teaching or Sai message to expand and go forward. So what came out of that message, that youth conference, Brother Faiz, to me personally, is that young adults were empowered to do Swami's work. And he gave them this reassurance that they will be successful in not some things, not most things, but everything that they want and desire once Swami is the focus point. Om Sri Sai Ram.
Thank you very, very much, Brother Shiva. Yes, very, very important lessons and principles you shared. Following his direct guidance, being good examples. A lion, the young adults, he said, will be like the lion among men
Yes.
as good dharmic leaders. Very, very beautifully put by yourself. So, Brother Shiva, you have been in the Satya Sai family for so many years. As you said, going back in the 1970s, being
Yes.
the Prashanti Nilayam, you've been involved in the centers at center level, national level, regional level, and you've really been a committed member of the Sri Satya Sai Baba family in Trinidad and Tobago. How has practicing the teachings of Satya Sai Baba impacted and continue to transform your life?
How does practicing the teachings of Sai impacted my life? Brother Faiz, I am happy that you asked me about this. You see, as kids, my dad would encourage us to read. So I love to read. And my parents would have bought all the China cutters and all the Balvikas booklets and things for us kids to read. So wherever we would go for drives and stuff like that, we would have to take these books and the Saratis with us to read in the car. We never got the opportunity to waste time. So we had to read these books. At that point in time, one would have thought, we're going for a ride. But looking back now, that was an excellent idea that he had, and it worked. Although, we were reading these Chinakatas and things, although they were short stories, they all had what we call a moral at the end of those stories. So now in real life, I am able to take and apply the essence of those stories. And you know what, brother? Things became easier to understand and easier to make decisions as a teenager, as an adult, as a parent, and now as an office bearer. So I think this is why Sai Baba wants Balvikas to be top priority, so that this transformation can take place. So I can speak for myself, my family, my children, that they are practicing the teachings of Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. And this will definitely transform your life by practicing Swami's teaching. And it will cause what we call a ripple effect too, to others around you, So especially as I mentioned, the Balvikas children, if we don't what we call encourage our children to be involved in Sai teachings, they will not have that wonderful experience. I can only speak for myself and my family, that especially when my wife, she encouraged the children to always be in Balvikas. Even though they will have school, they will have exams, they will not be able to miss a class. They will not be able to miss a satsang or a Balvikas session. Even though the teacher will call and say, we have extra lessons and the kids are missing out. we never allow them to stay home from that. So these things that happen, that these teachings that Swami gives are these small snippets, you know, all these things that the children learn in Bal Vikas. These things make a big impact in your life. And all these little things, when it come together, when you become an adult, you're able now to be able to deal with whatever life have to give you. So that is the impact that Sai made in my life, and by extension to my children and those around me. Om Sri Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, Brother Shiva. And I know that that impact and transformation has made you into what you are today, a committed, dedicated member of the Sai family. So, Brother Shiva, on another note, what does Sai Baba mean to you today?
Well, most of the time when someone asks you, well, what does Sai mean to you? Most of the time, we'll say, well, Sai means everything. But I just want to put my filter, my spin on it, that what Sai Baba means to me. Sai Baba, to me, means the direction that I need to take in this world. Sai Baba is that entity that navigates me to the destination that is required for me as an individual to attain divinity or individual to attain God. You see, Sai is that light that always inspires me when challenges presents itself in front of me. Sai does not always give you the answer instantly. However, Swami gives you the opportunity to make decisions, to think and act, so we will be able to resolve any issues, any challenges, whenever we feel that we're between a rock and a hard place. Whenever I thought that there was no solution, I would remember Sai speaking to me and telling me that this is his grace. This is his blessings. This is his inspiration. This is his love. This is his guidance. This is a way for me to overcome life challenges. This is a way for me to reduce some of my karmas that I may have had, created now or maybe bringing forward. Swami is always reminding me this is what I mean to him. So I will fall at times. Definitely I will fall at times. However, he will never, ever fail me. And this is what Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba means to me. Absolute, pure, divine, motherly love. This is what Swami is to me. Om Sri Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, Brother Shiva. And yes, to so many thousands, he is the embodiment of selfless love. As one scientist said, when I looked at Sai Baba, it was as if love was walking on 2 feet. So, very, very beautiful description and how you have seen this wonderful, majestic, loving avatar. So, Brother Shiva, we all had the experience of the physical form. You were in very close proximity and benefited so graciously and boundlessly from the physical presence. But in 2011, Swami transitioned from that physical form into the formless. Share with us, how were you able to deal with that transition? How were you able to navigate the transition from form into formless.
Om Sri Sai Ram. When we got the information of what Swami's Leela about the Samadhi, I felt fortunate in the sense that at that time, Brother Faiz, you had brought in, I think it was Brother Ajneesh at that time, and he was there and he was conducting satsang and allowing us, to be part of this divine play. When he started to sing, and then the group that was there, they started to console each other and let us know that that Swami is just, this is his Leela, he's here, there, everywhere. He just had this physical form. He has this, every form is his. And by us being in the proximity or the closeness of other Sai devotees, it strengthens us. It gives us, the understanding. I personally feel that Swami gave us this blessings, this so that we will not be sad or worried or feeling that something has left us. When you are among members of the same vision and the view, and this is what Swami, everyone awareness is different. Some of us are higher than others in that awareness. When I say higher, I mean their knowledge is a little bit more than others. So they will help you now to cope and understand the difference and to go forward. And we were very fortunate to be among these beautiful beings who are there singing and chanting and keeping us our mind, our body, everything focused on Swami teachings, Swami life, and the purpose that Swami was, Swami physically was here for. So we did not even get the chance to become sad for long. Yes, we were sad, yes. However, it was not for long, because we keep having to chant, keeping singing, getting divine messages of Swami's, people giving their experiences. So it was, for me personally, being among Sai devotees, being among Sai children, being among Sai energy allowed me to make that transition and understand that Swami is always here, will always be here, and there's nothing else but him around us. Om Sri Sai Ram.
Thank you very much for that sharing, Brother Shiva. And the million-dollar question that I always ask my guests, Brother Shiva, which you highlighted in some of your experiences, is that Swami has come to create a better society. He has come to make the world a better place. He has come to spread joy and happiness in the heart of humanity. He has spent over 85 years on a physical plane, giving of himself in so many different ways. Every single thing that he did was for the spiritual upliftment of humanity. When we look around again in the society, we see so much chaos, misery, pain, suffering, death of every magnitude. So my question to you is, based on how you have practiced Swami's teachings over the years and through your family, what sharing can you give to others whose intention is to make the world a little bit more loving, a little bit more peaceful, a little bit more united? What would you say to concerned citizens or people who have that intention?
Om Sri Sai Ram. As I just mentioned in one of the explanation, there is a ripple effect. And a better society does not depend on me trying to make others better. Now, it depends on me, the individual, making oneself better, making yourself better. It is not for me to make you better. It is for me to take Swami's teaching, put it into practice, and make myself, Sai individual, better, myself. And first of all, Swami does not want me or you going to the world, and this is my perspective, trying to transform others. That is not our job. That is his job. That is his thing to do. And I will tell you why I'm saying this. Our job, my duty is to follow and propagate Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba's teachings, which is love all and serve all. And the only way I personally feel that you can love all is by serving all. So we should get ourselves involved in Sai Seva activities. There are 1,001 that is around. Get ourselves involved in a Sai Seva activities. I may not experience that divine feeling at first. However, by continuously engaging myself in these activities, one will start actually developing humility and compassion for humanity and for the environment. You know, I heard you your interview last day, and you talked about the environment, you talked about the animals. We must not only think when we have to love all and we have to serve all. It only means I must love the human beings. Everything is important to Swami. Every single thing, down to the ants that is communicating, down to the dogs, the frogs, the snakes, everything. We will start to develop compassion. But how do we do that? We cannot just learn to love like that. The only way we can learn to love is when we practice serving. So the only way we can do that is, the only way we could serve is we have to serve unconditionally. When we are able to do that, we're able to experience that love. Then we will earn, I would say, the merit of knowing what it feels like to love all. If we do not know how to serve, if we do not know how to help each other, we will not be able to understand love. We must first, that is why when we see Swami, whenever you hear this word love all, serve all, immediately one will think about Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. And he has this, the major thing in this organization is about serving. He knows that once we develop this humility, this compassion for everything, all life, then we will be able to experience and understand the love that Swami sees in all of his children. Then we'll be able to understand how Swami looks at us. He looks at Sai Gita and he looks at me, he looks at you, he looks at everybody with that same divine love string. There's no up, I love you more, I love you less. He has that perfect divine love string that is connected to each and everything that is in existence. So when we see that transformation, that spiritual peace, that spiritual success, you know, when we see that in someone, we will want that for ourselves as an individual, you know. So this is why when we want to experience peace, we look at someone and we say, you know, how is he doing that? And everything is going good for him. But as someone looking outside, I want to experience that too. What is he doing? What they are doing? And they are seeing that this individual transforming themselves, they experiences that spiritual success, and they want it for themselves also. So what happens? Those others, they start to follow the path that you did, the path that Sai set for you. And again, as I said, that is the ripple effect. I am transforming myself with Sai teaching, Sai love, and I am experiencing peace. I am experiencing love. I am experiencing success, and others are looking on. I am transforming. I am not transforming them. They are seeing that I want that for myself. So what they do, they start to follow the technique that Sai had set for, the same technique that you're doing, and the same technique that Sai wants you to do, and they start doing that for themselves. And I heard you mention in your interview last day, the ripple effect, and that is what will happen. They will see your transformation, and immediately they will want that too. And they will want love, they will want peace, they will want harmony. That is what all human wants. This love, this attention, this feeling of oneness, and this feeling of included. And they will then start to transform themselves by themselves using this energy that you are giving out. So all you need to do is to transform yourself, and Swami will do the rest. You see, Swami said this, he said, take one step towards Sai, he will take 10 towards you. Swami said that self-transformation, and this also, what Swami said, he mentioned this in a message that he gave at the Second World Youth Conference. He said that self-transformation is the first step to God realization. And I could remember when I came back to Trinidad, that was the first or the only topic my dear brother Faiz gave me to do. And we went through the length and breadth of Trinidad, and that is what I had to speak about, transformation. So Swami said that self-transformation is the first step to God realization. So a value-based society will definitely happen as we transform ourselves with loving all and serving all. This is what Swami wants from us, transforming ourselves, and therefore the ripple effect will happen instantly. All we need to do for this world to become peaceful, loving, and everything harmonious is by transforming ourselves with Swami's teaching. Love all, serve all. Om Sri Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, Brother Shiva. That was a really powerful message for all of us. And you really echoed the consistent and persistent teaching of Swami that there can never be world transformation unless individuals change. And as you so rightly said, when one individual changes, it causes a ripple. And if you multiply that by 7 or 8 billion, we will have waves of transformation flowing through the entire world. So that is a very powerful, very loving advice you've given, and I'm sure our viewers would take that to heart, and I'm sure it's going to resonate with many of them. So, Brother Shiva Ramdass, we've come to the end of a truly blissful, inspiring interview with your good self. The Sri Satya Sai Global Council Trinidad and Tobago wishes to express gratitude and appreciation to you for taking the time to share your personal journey and transformation at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Mother Sai. May Bhagwan continue to bless you and your family. May you continue to be a loving instrument in his divine mission. Jai Sai Ram.
Om Sri Sai Ram.